An athlete throws a shot put with an initial upward velocity of 29 feet per second from an initial height of 6 feet. Part A is write an equation that models the height of the shot put in feet with respect to time in seconds. So looking in the book, there is a formula for height given time. And the formula is this. It is h is equal to negative 16t squared plus vt plus h sub 0, where h is the height, t is the time in seconds, v is the initial velocity, and h sub 0 is the initial height. Alright, so looking at our problem here, our v is our initial velocity. This here is our v. So v is equal to 29 feet per second. Okay. And then our h sub 0 is our initial height. That's right here, our initial height. Right. So our h sub 0 is equal to 6 feet. Alright, so then now what we can do is substitute those values in here, and we'll have an equation that models the height of the shot put in feet with respect to time in seconds. So let's go ahead and put that in. It's negative 16t squared plus 29t plus 6. And we are done with part A. Part B asks, after how many seconds will the shot put hit the ground? That means our height is going to be equal to 0 if it hits the ground. So for part B, I'm going to go ahead and set that equation equal to 0. Right? And then I'm going to solve for it. And how can I solve for t? I'm going to solve for t by factoring and then using the zero product property. Right? So let's go ahead and start by factoring. First of all, we go ahead and look at the coefficients and see if we can factor out a greatest common factor. After looking at it for a second, you can tell that there is no greatest common factor. Right? So we will go ahead and draw our x. Our a times c is going to go up here, so that's 60, 96, so negative 96. And then down in the bottom is our b, it's our 29. And then since we have a coefficient in front of the t squared term, we need to put that coefficient t as a numerator there, and also here for the second factor. And now we need two numbers that multiply to negative 96 and add up to 29. Alright, so what's that going to be? Negative 96. Let's see, we got 32 times 3. Hey, that's it, 32 times 3. Right? So it's going to be 32 times 3 multiplies to 96. And it will add up to 29 if the 3 is negative. Alright, so they multiply to negative 96 and they add up to 29. Great. So now we're going to go ahead and put them in as, rewrite the trinomial as factors. So it's going to be negative 16t plus 32, parentheses, negative 16t minus 3 is equal to 0. Now using the zero product property, we could set a equal to 0 and b equal to 0 and solve for t. So let's go ahead and do that. It's going to be negative 16t plus 32 is equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides. I'm going to get negative 16t is equal to negative 32. Divide by negative 16. And I get t is equal to 2 seconds. Let's do it for the other factor. So we'll say negative 16t minus 3 is equal to 0. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. I get negative 16t is equal to 3. Divide by negative 16, and I get t is equal to negative 3 over 16 seconds. Now we want to go ahead and take a look, and it's mathematically true that if I substitute negative 3 over 16 for t into this equation, it will hold true and it will be equal to 0. It's also true that if I substitute 2 for t, that it will equal to 0 and the equation will hold true. But now we need to look at the context of the question and see which one is going to be the right answer. So can t be negative? Right? Well, in this problem, the athlete is throwing the shot put. That's t equals 0. Right? Time is 0 when he's still holding the shot put. He throws it, and time is increasing. Right? When it hits the ground, time is going to be a positive number, which is why the only reasonable answer is t is equal to 2 seconds, not the negative value of t. So let's go ahead and put that here for b. I'm going to say 2 seconds is t. And then my equation is negative 16t squared plus 29t plus h sub 0 is equal to h.